Hello, everybody, and welcome. This is the Southwest Florida TechNet. My name's Ian Hicken, KO4EFS, and I'm here with my co-host, Joseph, KM4OVZ, and I did get that right this time. Yeah, we're here tonight for the Southwest Florida TechNet. Yeah, we are recording and we are live on YouTube. So if you do not want your image or your likeness or your sound recorded, rebroadcast, or broadcast, you need to just turn your camera and your mic off and you're welcome to stay. You can also watch us on YouTube. You can also go back at any time and watch this episode again. Everything we do is recorded for you with the screen capture and everything else. All right. Tonight we're doing Freestyle Friday. We haven't done this in a while. Joseph and I have been putting a lot of time into those last 4 or 5 nets. And so we decided that this week we're going to do a bye. We're going to take a bye week. And we're literally taking the week and doing like halftime this week. So I've got some cool stuff to go through, but we do not have a main topic tonight. We're leaving that up to you guys. You can bring any topic you want as long as it's tech. I really don't want to get into drama or politics, religion, or borrowing money. But I do want to get into as much technology as we can get into tonight and talk all about it. All right. For those of you who have never joined us before, this is the Southwest Florida Tech Net. We are a part of the Southwest Florida Tech team, and we've been doing this net now for 6 or 8 months, and it is becoming quite successful. And I'm very happy with the people that have been tuning in every week. It's great to see the same folks over and over and over again. It's been about 4 weeks since I discussed this at any length with anybody. So tonight we're going to take just a few minutes so that I can discuss with you guys the fact that we are doing our own team here. We're starting the Southwest Florida Tech team. We're in the founding stages at this time. We've actually begun to write bylaws, and we've had our first meeting, and we are starting to do those things that are necessary to start a small team. I want to say right up front again, as I always do, we're doing this to do our own thing, not necessarily to compete in any way. In fact, everything we've done and will do will try to be scheduled in times when our other local groups are not doing anything because our members have dual membership. The Southwest Florida Tech Team is a place where like-minded technicians and specialists and enthusiasts can meet in amateur radio technology and systems. You know, so much of amateur radio is about everything but the technology. And we're wanting to have a group that's centered on, not centered on, lunch bunches and things like that. Those are great. We can do those with the other clubs. That's why we're members of the other clubs, because they do those things. We want a group that every time we get together, it's for a purpose, to build an antenna, to talk on the radio, to do a POTA, to whatever it is. We're going to do stuff. We're not really looking, to be honest with you, I'm not looking for numbers. I'm not looking for money. I'm not looking for anything. I don't want anything for you to join. All I want is you to join if you're going to be active, if you want to do stuff with us. We're looking for people to do stuff with us. That's it. That's the bottom line. We're trying to bridge the gap between what local clubs are doing now and what the active younger members in the amateur radio field are wanting to do now, because there seems to be a gap forming there. And we're going to try to fill that gap. Most amateur radio clubs, they're kind of stuck in the past. That's not necessarily a bad thing. I don't want to put a negative spin on this tonight. But I do, it is true, and we can all kind of face the facts here that a lot of our clubs out there are very stuck in their ways and have not really adjusted much to the changing times. And unfortunately, the survival of our hobby is at stake. We embrace the future because the survival of the hobby should probably be paramount on what we're doing, to everything we're doing right now. In most of your typical ham radio clubs, new members and new hams have virtually no say. And they really don't get a lot of input. And I will say, FMARC has given me some input. I think it's very important that everyone gets a vote. And so the way we're doing this club is we're setting it up to where everybody votes. We're not going to be doing we're deciding this, the board decides that, the group decides this, we decide this over here. We're not doing all that. We're going to have a very straightforward. If it's something that's going to affect the group, then we're all going to vote on it, and we're going to take a simple majority rules, 50% plus one. I feel that's the best way to do things. I want to keep it very simple. Our bylaws will be 1 page. There is no reason for complication. We're not a big club like FMARC. and we're not doing what they do. So we don't need a bunch of politics and drama and all that to get involved when you write these big, complicated bylaws. We're wanting to keep it real simple. Apparently, my mother forgot I was in a net tonight. Let's see here. We only want open-minded, flexible folks, people that are interested in new technology. That doesn't mean you have to do everything to join the group. But I'm looking for people that have open minds, that want to join the group and learn new things and get into new things and try things that are outside the box. Do things that are a little crazy. It's not really a social club. We've already got those, and we like those. What we're doing is we're not going to do luncheons, get-togethers, award dinners, socials. I've already said all that. We're not really going to do that. When we get together, it's going to be events, builds, functions, contests, operating our radios, and we're going to have a particular focus on public awareness, because you know what? Something that not a lot of groups are doing anything with the media. We should be deep diving with the media constantly. We should be doing stuff to get the word out there about amateur radio. I don't see much happening. In a year, I've tried very hard to get several different groups to do stuff with me with the media, and it just doesn't happen. This is not a social club. I said that already. We will have a particular focus on public awareness. I said that, and we should be, I think that recruiting new people into amateur radio should probably be the biggest thing we do. It should be the one thing that we do that actually makes the most difference in our future, because a lot of us here, we may still have 20 years in amateur radio, maybe more. I mean, everybody that's in this meeting tonight could easily have 20 more years in amateur radio. But if there's nobody left to talk to, I don't know what we're going to do. There's very few very young people getting into it anymore. And we've got to find a new way to appeal to these people. And so that's one of the things I want to do. And of course, one of my big things, one of the big reasons I started this was because events being planned during times when people can't go. You can't do hobby stuff during the week. It's hobby stuff. It has to be done when people are not at work. We're going to do things when people are not at work. It's just that simple. Everything we do will be on the weekends or in the evenings after 7:30, so that people can attend that have work and that have jobs and can be. And we want everybody to be able to be there. Everything we do will always be on the weekend, because that's something it's happening. It's happened a lot with a lot of different clubs. There's one local club, and it's not FMARC, that I work with a lot, and all of their trainings are during the week. I can't go. I'm at work. Other clubs have big events during the week. I can't go. I'm at work, and I need to be, that drives me nuts. I just got to tell you. And it's not the club for retired naysayers from the past. It's for active folks that still want to do it, learn it, make it, build it, tune it, and talk on it. I want people that want to get into radio, get into the technology, get into what this field's all about. What we want to do is real simple. This is the list. We want to continue to expand this net, make it better, add people to it, add things to it. We also want to create several area-wide radio nets focusing on technology. We're talking about using a 440 repeater here in town. We have no 70-centimeter nets here in town. We want to promote amateur radio through community outreach, media relations, public education, and we're actually going to do it. We want to provide live audio stream and Echolink services to amateur radio operators. It's something that's so cheap and so easy, and it's just not being done. We want people that leave the area to still be able to participate in our nets at night. I think that's important. It works great in Charlotte County. So we want to start getting Echolink up on as many things as we can get it up on. Or what's the other one? Other than Echolink, there's another one that's actually
All-Star.
All-Star. I think All-Star is the direction we're kind of looking in. We want to provide live audio streaming and Echolink services to amateur operators. Joseph's providing a feed now. We're going to talk about that in a little while. I'm providing 3 feeds. Joseph's working on another feed. We've got all kinds of stuff we're going to be doing, because putting stuff on the internet out in front of people is the way to get amateur radio in front of the younger generation, is to get it on the internet where they can hear it, see it, touch it, feel it. And that's the way to get them involved. And that's so important. Here's another big one. I want to do antenna building and project days, actually getting together and working on things, getting parts lists, going to Home Depot, buying the stuff, showing up, building it, taking it home, plugging it in, testing it out. That's the day. That's what I want to do. That's it. It's that simple. I want to provide remote HF phone and HF digital operation stations to members that do not have access to the sky. You know, clubs started as repeater clubs, and they started before that as radio clubs. The guys would get together and build a radio. And then they would get with their friends, they'd build a radio, they'd put it in a shack, they'd put up an antenna, they'd all pool their money and pool their time and pool their resources and build one radio that the 7 guys or 12 guys could use. That was the first amateur radio clubs. We got to get back to that. You know, half the people in these clubs don't even have access to the sky. They're in a homeowners association. There's several people that have loaded the gutter up around their house. They do whatever they got to do, but there's just a lot of people that don't have access to the sky. And if you don't have access to the sky with HF, it's just not going to happen. So what I want to do is something that I feel is so important, and that's provide HF feeds to people. And let me tell you something. Joseph has come up with an ingenious idea of simply not signing into the radio on the other side and doing FT8, but just streaming the audio from the FT8 server, just streaming the audio from the radio through the audio stream to your computer, and you use your computer to decode the FT8. And that way, you're logged into your logbook, you're using your FT8, and all you're doing is using an in and out audio stream from our radio, which is going to be a 20-year-old HF rig that doesn't even have a waterfall on the front. It's just going to be plugged in there in my mother's closet, stuck in there, and it's going to be hooked up to a wire in the backyard, and you'll be able to dial into it as the member of the club. And all you got to do is use that audio pass-through that we told you about, connect that to you to your FT8, and you are on FT8. No BS. And I want to do that. I want to provide that for you guys. I pitched this to the clubs, and it fell on deaf ears, completely deaf ears. And the people I was pitching it to live in homeowners associations. I want to continue participating and expanding in real-time propagation research. I do a lot of this now. I keep radios and receivers and SDRs connected connected all the time to the PSK reporter. So I'm reporting data all the time. I want to do more of that kind of stuff. I want to do group contesting for digital and phone. I want to get together and contest, not just field day, but actually contest. Contesting's a lot of fun. Look, I am not a competition person. I've never played sports. We had a pool table at our fire station. I think I played it 3 times. I suck. I don't like stuff like that. Okay. I'm not a competition person, but the strategy and the just in-depth rawness that's involved in competing on radio is so much fun. You build an antenna, you put it up, you contact people, you compete with other people. I love it. And so because of that, I want to start this group to be a competition team. I want to start competing as a team. And then finally, I want to do POTA activations. I hear there's people that do them around, but they're always down in Naples somewhere or whatever. I want to start doing POTA activations. I want to start doing them up here. We've got several parks that are on the list within 10 miles here in North Fort Myers, and we can meet other places too between here and wherever you live. So I want to start doing that kind of stuff too. So that kind of gives you an idea of what we're doing. To join, all you have to do to join the club is go to the website, and there's a join now button, and just click it. All I need is 3 pieces of information and no money. All I want is your phone number, your call sign, and your email address. That's all I want, because I don't need anything else. All I want to do is connect with you so that we can become radio buddies. That's kind of what this is, radio buddies. I'm not collecting dues. If we want to raise money for something later, we'll talk about that later. Now, let's say you don't want to join a TechNet, the tech team. It's not your thing. You don't want to join that team. Too intense. That Ian guy's just so damn intense. Oh my God, he's so intense. And I don't want to join that guy. but I want to get his newsletter because maybe it'll be cool. Well, it is cool actually, and you can get my newsletter. You can get the same newsletter I send to the team 2 or 3 times a week by just going to this blue button on the web page there and clicking sign up for our newsletter. All I need is 2 pieces of information: call sign, email address. That's it. All you have to do is send back unsubscribe, and I will unsubscribe you. It's that simple. Never more than 6 or 7 a week, usually 2 a week. And they're very, very, very informative emails that will have pretty much anything that you want to talk about on there. So please sign up for that. And I want to mention here that the FMARC they are reducing the amount of support they're giving us on the email announcements. The ones we are getting are coming out late and they're truncated. So I don't think we're going to be getting those much longer from the FMARC. They've really just pulled every bit of help we get from them. So the one this week came out 18 hours late and was cut in half. So I think that's kind of what we're dealing with there with that. So unfortunately, going forward, you may or may not get the reminder email from FMARC. You will still get the CARS reminder email, and you will still get the reminder email from our newsletter system here. So please fill out the newsletter request, and you'll also get the thing that tells you what's coming up on the TechNet every week on Thursday. All right, so that's that. I don't, it is what it is, I appreciate what they've done to us up for now. So, tropical weather update. Elsa, well, it went by, didn't it? Just like last year, we had to duck. You got to do that when the storm's coming. You got to do this. You got to duck. It went right by us. Some of the early model runs had it going right over us, and as a matter of fact, there was several early forecasts that had it going right over us. Luckily, it actually did pretty good. The National Hurricane Center, I give them an A- on this one. Truthfully, they did really good. The models did good. You know what a bad performing model was the Euro. What a bad performer. Last year, the Euro was the best performing model. This year, not so much. The Euro sucked on this one. I'm telling you what, it had it all. At one time, the Euro had this thing out in the middle of the Atlantic. So there you go. But it did finally pick it up and start to match the GFS and some of the other models that they were running. So, but anyway, I give them a pretty good one. You can see the yellow there. Everywhere in yellow on that TV screen felt tropical storm force winds. And the little small spots of red, there's 2 of them if you can find them. There's one offshore Tampa, and there's one coming through the Eastern Caribbean. Those stripes of red are areas that saw hurricane force winds. Technically, there's only like 2 islands that actually saw hurricane force winds. Everybody else got tropical storm. All right, so this is my antenna. And I know it looks like crap. I'm poor, I'll admit it. But it's my antenna. I got my 6-meter array on there, and then above it, I've got my PVC homebrew made dual 7-element Yeagis, and then above that, my 440 array is actually not up there. I've taken it down because I'm working on it. I'm taking my triple 70-centimeter Yagi array, which didn't work out well, and I'm making a 20-element single beam 70-element array, and it will be going back up on there so I can hit stuff in Miami and Tampa. But for right now, this is my rig, and you can see it's on top of what looks like a little oil derrick there. It's a freestander, and I have it mounted down at the bottom, but not very well. And I have a couple of guys on it, no big deal. And I thought, before the storm, I'm going to run up there and throw a rope on that thing and just pull it up against a house and tie a rope off on it. Thank God I did. Because guess what happened? We got a squall line come through, and yeah, I got the video. This is actually the lower right screen is the tower cam that's up on my tower. The other screens, the 2 top ones, are a continuous view of the front of my house. And then the other one's just my son-in-law's car. But you can see it moving around quite a bit up there as we get into this. Here comes the squall. Watch your lower right hand. Watch it twist around. See that lower pipe that's sticking out there is holding my wire for my long wire. watch it all twist out and go, it's gone. Yes. Yes. Taken down in the storm and yet no damage. I love it. All right, so there you go. And no animals or small children were hurt in the making of this video. Oh my goodness, do you believe that? It was a heck of a storm. I will tell you that. But anyway, I woke up. And you know the funniest part of the whole thing, we never woke up. My wife and I slept through it. My son-in-law said he thought he heard a bang and he woke up. I never heard it. And nobody heard it because it didn't actually hit anything. The safety rope I put on it held. It fell onto a 45-degree angle and it sat there and held. It's only 30 feet tall and it's a freestander. So, and it's very light. It's aluminum. Here, it's about to go again. That one rod you see going across, that's on my 6-meter beam. And then, of course, the other one is the pole that holds out my wire. I have no idea, but judging from weather stations around the area, it was probably a 45, maybe 50-mile-an-hour wind gust. Came in from the west.
Wow.
Yeah. Isn't that cool?
Yeah.
All right. I don't know why I hit the wrong button there, but anyway. Next slide, please.
Come on, let's go. Next slide. Come on.
So, it gets funky when you do video. I will tell you, it gets a little funky when you do video. Okay, it's your turn. We're now going to turn it over to you guys for a few minutes, see what else you guys want to talk about. Is there a project you're working on? Is there a radio you're having problems with? Is there something that's not going well that we can maybe help you with or maybe put you in contact with? There's some people in here tonight that have been doing this a long time. Okay, I know John himself, John trained me on several things. So there's different people in here that can certainly help you tonight. And so I want to get you guys to bring your topic forward. It's hard to get people to come forward, whether it be FT8 or whether it be your Baofeng radio, programming it with Chirp, or whether it be something else. Maybe I can help you with it. Any topic, anywhere, come now.
Hey, Ian, I got something a little crazy.
I do crazy.
Yeah, let's do that. It's called, what is it? This is, I was out running some errands this afternoon, and I've been seeing these things for some time. And what is next to the street has a 5-element Yagi beam on it. So I took a picture of a couple of these things. There's 3 of them within just a couple of miles of my house over here. So I'm going to see if I can bring one up and share my screen. Let's pick the right one here. That's most obviously.
Okay, yeah, you can share your screen now. It's open.
All right, let me see if I guess this one will be. All right, let me see if I can share the screen here. Share screen. Yeah, that one will be. Share.
Hey, there we go.
Oh.
Yes, those are, that is a, you know, I'm going to tell you what that is. It's a radio packet that reports back that the sewer lift station is working properly.
Oh, okay. That's what I was wondering what that was. And I've seen a bunch of those around here. And I thought, well, I don't think it's anything really, really thing sinister like Xi Jinping or what's his name in Russia, Vladimir Putin, the New World Order. I thought this has got to be something really boring.
Well, we know it wasn't Putin because there was no shirtless guys on a horse. So, well, yeah, what those are, that's actually a sewer lift station. You can see there it's got a little light and it's got a little power meter on it and everything. This the city actually takes sewer coming down the road and lifts it there to go down to the next road or whatever. And they actually have a fill alarm in there, and that sends the signal back for that to let it know that it's about to overflow. And people in Cape Coral don't like when those things overflow. Yeah, there's another one.
Yeah. This is
Yeah,
another.
and you can see there on the right that green round green thing. I know this for two reasons. One, I was a firefighter, and we had to deal with these every now and then, but not very often. But number two, my dad was a plumber, so between those two facts, I probably know what this thing is. But yeah, but that's all it is. It's a sewer lift station. That's what that green round thing is actually where the pump is down in there.
Yeah, well, I saw that antenna. That's what attracted.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I would have paid absolutely no attention to it. But a 5-element Yagi antenna, just, you know, a ham, it's going to catch my attention. And I've seen so many of them around here. What the heck is this? Anyway, well, at least now we know. We know what is it is.
Yeah. I assume they've probably got an Omni up at like 50 feet that's receiving all this stuff from all these Yagis.
Yeah.
But,
You know, I kind of had a funny theory of, you know, somebody's, you know what stinks better than somebody else's, and it takes government to figure that out. But anyway.
Yeah, well, I worked for the government for a while, so I speak crap.
But there it is. Well,
There it
what
is.
is it? So,
Yeah.
So you can
All righty.
tell anybody you know that it became spotlighted on the net. And the other thing I wanted to mention is the 220 repeater is on the air. I don't know if anybody.
Yes.
Yep.
Yep. So anyway, all right. Well, let me unshare the thing, but I wanted to show this to you.
That's awesome.
I've seen
yeah.
those. I've seen those. I've seen Yagi antennas like that near lakes and reservoirs and stuff. There's a bridge. Oh, I don't know where it is on tree line. Yeah, there's a bridge that goes over a little stream, and it's got a box with a Yagi on it, similar to that one, although the antenna is a lot smaller. And I think they use that to monitor the water height. So they're
That's
they got
exactly what it is. Yeah, they use them as tidal monitors. They can use them in lakes. I've seen those things for anywhere they need to send data like that. That's pretty cool, though. I wonder what frequency it's on.
Yeah, I don't know from the looks.
Ham says they're probably 900 megahertz.
The Yagi
It
here
looks too
like-
big for 900.
No,
Maybe it's like a full wave 900 or something.
Yeah, I mean it kind of. I mean, if you look at it, they kind of look like 300 megahertz, like in that range, because it's a little bigger. It's bigger than a 440 for sure, but it's not quite as big as the 220 Yagi I built.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's kind of weird. It's in there. It's in the middle there somewhere.
It'll be interesting to find out what frequency. Maybe we can get the worked on P0OP stations here award or something.
Well, I mean, I guarantee you, if I go park right in front of that Yagi across the street and put my little SDR sharp up with my little Yagi pointing right at that Yagi and start recording large swaths of the bandwidth, I'll find it.
Yeah.
And then we just have to decode the packet it's sending, and it's probably going to say sewer okay.
But I thought that was hilarious because I've been seeing those, and I thought, geez, you know, I'm gonna pull the phone out. I took pictures of 3 of them, and I thought I'm gonna take pictures of those and bring it to the net tonight and see. You know, at least it was good for amusement anyway.
Yeah. Well, that's cool. Yeah, I appreciate you guys bringing that. Anytime you guys see any new antenna or weird thing or cool radio, make a screen capture and bring it to us as my cooling fan starts making noise there.
I thought you had an electronic rattlesnake for a minute.
Yeah, it was. It's the laptop that's running this meeting tonight and recording it and streaming it and everything else that it's doing to it. Basically that computer will run very hot if I don't. So I have a fan underneath it and a fan blowing across the top of it. It takes 2 fans to keep it cool. Okay, so next topic. Anyone, anywhere. Next tech topic.
I think I have one. It was kind of a couple things. Tech topic. I tried to talk into the 220 repeater using my my little hack RF here. And I was using a program called SDR Angel, which actually allows you to transmit with one of these. It'll take your microphone input and then it'll modulate it. I could hear the repeater pretty good just using my omnidirectional 2-meter antenna. I don't think I was able to key it up though with this. So this only puts out maybe 400 milliwatts on full power. So It may have been that I was just not putting enough power, or I was using the software wrong, because that software is not user friendly at all.
All right, you know you've got to have a 136 hertz tone.
Yes, I had it on.
Okay, you're aware of that. Okay.
I had it on, and I think I had the right offset. You know, it may not have even been doing that. Software is so unuser friendly, man. You click it, it is so hard to use, even with a YouTube video guide. Like the buttons are missing. You have to go add them in after. It's really weird software, and it's like the only one that lets you transmit. So it could have been that I was using it wrong.
Build yourself a 220 Yagi and try it.
I'm gonna end up probably doing that once I get a proper 220 radio in. I noticed that TYT has a really cool mono band 220 radio, or I might try and find like an older, you know, 80s, 90s 220 radio, because I like those. So I don't know. The other thing is that there is an insane lightning storm. I don't know. It's not over Fort Myers, really.
Yeah, I'm watching it. It's actually just east of the county line in Hendry County, and it's kind of expanding, but it's moving to the east generally. I thought it was going to be a problem at the beginning of the net, but it's moving away right now. So if you're in Alva, you're probably getting some of it, but everybody else in Lee counties, it's just about gone.
Here in we're in Buckingham, and this thing is right on the edge of it. And I saw it in the distance about 30 or so minutes ago, 45 minutes ago. And I saw it and I was like, I wonder if I should lower my push-up pole. Thank goodness I did, because man, that thing has so much lightning in it. It's not even here, and it was lighting up my room. You could see it out in the background. My room was getting lighted up.
See, that tells you that there was a lot of energy. You know, as you guys know, it's kind of cool to.
Is it just me, or did anyone notice how much lightning there was in Hurricane Elsa? I've never seen that much lightning in a hurricane.
Really? I didn't notice a whole lot.
I noticed a little more than usual, especially in the feeder band. Yeah. But I monitored a live cam at the beach when it was going by for a little while, and I was surprised at how much lightning we were seeing offshore in a tropical storm. Tropical storms, just so you guys know, when there's a great amount of lift in the atmosphere and you start getting an updraft or a lift in the atmosphere, that's what creates those large thunderstorm heads that go way up into the upper levels of the atmosphere and anvil out like this. When you get those, okay, that's when you get lightning, because those large, tall thunderstorm heads are what gives the electricity the way it works. With tropical systems, you don't get that same setup in the atmosphere. And generally speaking, they're not that great with lightning. You'll see a lot in feeder bands, but not generally a lot near the storm. So yes, I agree with you. I saw more than normal in this one. So it was an interesting storm. Like I said, I gave him an A- because I gave him an A+, except it did fool him a few times on a few things. It reformed here and there and did that. But yeah, it's one of those things. I was going to just pull up real quick, see if I can do this real quick while we're on the fly here. On our website, we have a great weather radar. I'll pull that up real quick and we can take a quick peek. This is on the Southwest Florida TechNet. And hold on, let me get it to... There we go. Okay, yeah, this is on the Southwest Florida TechNet website. And you can see, if you go to the weather tab under weather radar, we've got a great radar here that I found. And you can zoom out. And I want to show you something about this radar. There is tools right here. See where it says layers? You can add layers, like you can add the storm tracks and the lightning. Two things I use quite a bit. And it will actually put in your little storm tracks and try to extrapolate which way the storms are moving. Pretty cool. And those round things will light up yellow and red if it's detecting rotation, tornadoes, things like that, hail. They'll light up different colors. These are just heavy rain and lightning, or just these two here. But yeah, this is a great radar. You can put it in motion. You can also add your watch and warning overlay. So I'm just showing you what, it's kind of neat to go over every now and then what resources are available on the Southwest Florida Tech site. Oh, there is, we do have a significant weather advisory for Hendry County. tracking a strong thunderstorm 9 miles northeast of Port LaBelle. That's pretty far out. And yeah, that's all pretty far out. I don't know if we've got anybody in that's in Henry County, but if you're in Henry County, watch out. All right, so that's that. Anybody have next open topic? Anyone, anywhere? Come now.
Quick, pull up your cricket sound effect.
Yeah, I'm going to get the cricket sound effect. That's okay, though. All right, let's go back to the PowerPoint for a few minutes. I've got a few more things that we can do on there, and then we'll go back and we're going to open it up again here in a few minutes in case you guys have anything else. There it is. All right. Sometimes you have too many screens. There we go. All right, let's get back into this. All right, let's see. The next thing I got is my thought of the day. You know, every week I try to come up with a thought, and it's not always a pleasant one, but sometimes I try to come up with a thought that to me is important in ham radio. Only doing this a little over a year now, you know, this is what's important to me. Dead repeaters. What needs to be done? I don't know if you guys have noticed, but most of them are dead all the time. I can't believe that we have 10 or 20 repeaters in each coastal county, and they're dead most of the time. Why do we have all these great equipment if we never use it? I call on frequency listening all the time. I did it 4 times today on frequency listening, and I don't think anybody answered me any of the 4 times.
Can't you take a hint?
Well, I don't hear anybody else getting answered either. So there was actually, John.
All right, you left yourself too wide open for that one, Ian.
Yeah, well, I hate to say it, John, but there's some truth to that. I actually, for a long time, felt that it was me. And then I realized later, it's not me. Everybody's just jerks. I recommend, and I'm kind of kidding and kind of not there. I recommend that each of us just try to monitor repeaters. You know what? I have radios here that just stay on, monitoring repeaters all the time. And if I hear somebody, I try to talk to them. A lot of times I can help somebody out. I monitor 2 meter. I help people out with directions probably once a week on 2 meter. I'll talk to somebody on 2 meter call channel. And I'll get up on the interstate and they're calling for local information. I love doing that. It's kind of like the CB of ham radio. So there's always stuff going on. So monitor some of these channels, maybe set up a little scanner, take your Baofeng, hook it to an outside antenna and put on the 2 closest repeaters so you can hear what's going on and talk to people when they call. It's exacerbating when I call and nobody answers, or if anybody answers, it's usually Joseph. And he answers because we're always talking about how nobody answers. But anyway, I try to listen about 12 to 15 hours a day, depending on what I'm doing. I can't listen when I'm at work and I don't listen when I'm asleep, but I do try to listen 12, 14 hours. On the weekends, I listen the entire thing, except as I'm sleeping. And you know what I notice is weird? The repeaters are dead on the weekend when everybody's off. I don't know why that is.
That's what's up?
Very few nets on the weekend. There's very few activities. Amateur radio seems to be a weekday thing for some weird reason. I've noticed that when someone answers me, though, it gets a conversation going. And a lot of times I'll talk on the way to work and Joseph will come on and someone will break in and he'll be talking to them. And then someone else will come in and they'll talk. And when I go to work, I listen to them until I get to the door and then I turn the portable off and I go inside. You know, I thought it was great. I got something going, you know, I got something started. I got a conversation between people going. I wish that clubs were more inclined to connect repeaters together. In other parts of the country and just either other parts of Florida, connected repeater systems are very popular. Here, no. None of our 5 counties here have any kind of official connected repeater system through a club. There is a UHF connected repeater system that goes like Lee and Collier, I think. And then there's some fusion connection going on out there. But other than that, there's really no connection at all. In Charlotte County, they connect 3 repeaters up when they do their CC flares, their Aries stuff. And that's nice that they can do that up there. And so they can bring their whole county in on one frequency for all their nets up there, but we can't do that down here. So I really hope that clubs would consider, and maybe amateurs even would consider, the benefits of connecting the type of radio that we all have together so that we can all talk together.
You do understand, don't you, Ian, that that is being done as we speak?
I haven't heard any official board action on it.
FMARC has purchased equipment to connect initially 2 repeaters with a plan to test it out and possibly connect 2 more. The equipment's already been bought and paid for the first 2 and for a centralized hub. The situation is going to be that the 2 local repeaters and eventually more will be tied into a centralized hub, so somebody from out of the area can dial into that hub either by Echolink or by All-Star and connect with both local repeaters, much the same as what we're doing now with the 3 fusion repeaters. So that's in the works. The equipment is here right now. It's being tested and set up. It's on the air. They're just not connected to the repeaters yet. So that is being done, Ian, and I think you're going to see more in that direction, if in the near future.
Okay, that'd be great. Like I said, I've been to all the meetings except the last one. I'm no longer attending them anymore, but I went to all of them except to the last one, and I've never heard any official board action taken on connecting the repeaters together. I heard a report given where they were talking about connecting 2 of the small repeaters, one in Lehigh and one in Cape Coral, as a test, but that's all I had heard. I'm glad to hear there's some interest. I put the proposal in 6 months ago, but they were not interested in hearing any of my stuff. I had it all figured out, like 3 different plans, ways to do it, 3 different systems that would accomplish it and everything, but they weren't interested in anything I had to say. But I'm glad to hear that they are doing it. That's good.
Plus, I'm going to be interested to see what the 220 repeater footprint looks like.
Yeah.
That thing's up almost as high as the repeater that's up on the BBH tower. It's almost 300 feet high, so it's going to be interesting to see how well that thing gets out. But it seems to be doing pretty well.
I know I can work it portable from inside my house on 5 watts on a rubber duck.
I haven't tried it yet, and I'm going to be honest with you. I can't find the special antenna that came with my 220 radio. I gotta find it, and I don't want to try to just screw a 440 on there and try to make it work because I'll mess my radio up. So until I get the right one, I decided rather than trying to find this antenna that I've hardly used, that's probably lost somewhere, I decided I'm just going to build me a 220, a 440 antenna, so that I can put a 220 and 440 channel in this radio and just leave it hooked up all the time. All right. If you guys, if you're too far away from the 220, if you're more than 10 or 15 miles from downtown Fort Myers, get with me. You can build a Yagi out of PVC pipe and some coat hangers, and I'll get you into that antenna from 20 miles away. With a portable, with an HT.
Shouldn't have any trouble hitting it from 20 miles away. Maybe with a handheld, but
I'm talking about with a 5-watt HT. You can double or triple your. I don't know exact miles. This thing it may do 20 miles right to a portable. I don't know. It may do good. 220 is a great band. So, all right. And we are, I do have that coming up again here in just a few minutes. We are going to start monitoring this channel. I'm putting this in here in the shack in a dedicated radio. It's not a real high repeater, but it actually works pretty good. It's on 440, obviously. And it's a great repeater here in North Fort Myers. I've been running a recorder on it for a long time. No one ever uses it. It literally just sits. So we're gonna make it our unofficial, official, but yet still unofficial club channel. So if you guys are in the area, shoot us a call. We'll answer.
Anybody know who owns that repeater?
I have no idea. There's two of them. There's a VHF and a UHF. They're both located on the LCEC tower. I've asked and no one knows. It's one of only 3 or 4 repeaters on the FMARC website where they don't indicate who owns it. So I don't really know. If I knew, I actually would probably write them a nice letter and say, look, we would like to use your repeater as our club channel. And I'm sure they'd be happy because it's not being used at all right now. But I don't know who owns it. But I'm looking for them because I will write them a courtesy letter because I'm like that. All right. ARRL, this is something I have had 3 people bring this up to me in the last month. And we were going to do a whole night on it. And then I decided it's not tech enough for a whole night. Clubs, ARRL. I had somebody come to me and say, you know what? I've never been a member. I'm not going to be a member. I don't understand what its purpose is. I had another person come to me and say, you know, I've spent money on this for several years and I don't understand what I'm getting from it. I have to admit, I spent $50 last year and I don't know what I get from it. So what I want to do is I want to have a true 20, 30-minute discussion here, maybe 10, whatever. Not an argument, but a discussion on what do we get from these clubs? Because I'm approaching this from a standpoint, convince me. I'm coming up for renewal in 2 months. Is there anybody out there that wants to try to convince me to re-up? I'd love to listen to it. And I'm not trying to be a jerk. It's just, I'll be honest with you, I can go down this list and none of that stuff helped me a bit. So I guess what I'm trying to say is I like the ARRL. I actually do. I think they're great. But $50 is a lot of money. And my problem is they take $21 of that and they send me a magazine that I don't read magazines. I'm putting them by the toilet now, so I'm getting a little use, but not for that. I still read them, but I don't know what to do. They spend half this money I give them to send out a magazine, and I'm like, a magazine? How 1987? Talk about a club that hasn't got with the times. They make you receive a printed magazine in order to be a member. And I kind of have issue with that. So I want to throw it out there. I want to hear what you guys have to say. I'm not pro or con the ARRL, and I have not made up my decision yet. Do you know that 85% of the people that sign up for the first year don't sign up for the second year? And I'm feeling that right now. So I just wanted to bring this up and get everybody's input. So I'm going to open it up to the floor. I'd like to hear positives or negatives on why I should continue membership with the ARRL and what does it do for me?
Ian?
Yeah.
Rick here. Hi, Ian. Hi, Joe. And hi,
Hey,
everybody.
Rick.
How you doing?
Doing good.
Last week, I sent a check for $49 into the, well, I didn't send a check. I did it online to the ARRL Club.
There you go.
And I did it in part after I watched a YouTube video that is currently being on the prra.club website, prra.club website on the front page. And I think the title of it is, why should I join the AARL? And after I watched that video, I felt that I was doing the right thing for a lot of different reasons. And I'm not going to get into the specifics because I don't have them down in my head yet, but it wasn't all about what AARL could do for me. It was about some of the things that ARRL does for the outside community. I got a good feeling about this organization. You know, it was formed in 1915 by Percy Maxwell. Hiram Percy Maxwell. And the other part of it is he lived in Hartford, Connecticut, and I'm from that area. And I lived 60 years in that area, and I didn't even know the ARRL existed in Newington. But so with a little bit of research that I did and watching that YouTube clip on the prra.club website, I felt good about sending in $50. And it gave me I actually wrote out, I was going to put it on my my net. There were like 16 to 20 reasons, line items for the reason why. And
yeah, and I actually you can keep going, but I actually have those. I have that actual bullet points right here for everybody.
Yeah, and it meant something for me, and that's all I got. So maybe next year I'll talk to you and see if I felt it was worthwhile. Thanks, Ian, and great job there, and hi to everybody.
All right, yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, I like I said, I did it the first year, and I'm glad I supported them. I don't necessarily feel like I wasted my money per se, but I can go around and tell you there's been a lot of things that haven't been great. I mean, I ordered some pins and some patches from them, and it took like 3.5 weeks and 5 phone calls to get them. You know, there's just little things like that. I don't know. Like I said, I don't like the magazine thing. That's $21 of money that I wish that they could use, but make it cheaper. You know, I don't have a lot of money right now, and $50 is almost 2 Baofengs.
Hey, Ian.
Yeah.
Let me ask you something.
Yeah.
Are you a member of the NRA?
No, I used to be when I had money.
Did you get your magazine?
No, I don't recall getting a magazine.
I guarantee every.
John, I haven't been a member of the NRA for a long time. I was years ago when I was a firefighter and I was rolling in money because I worked for the government. I literally was a member of the NRA and the Florida Fire Chiefs Association and everything else. But now, not so much. I'm not a member of things anymore because I don't. $20, $50 is a lot more money to me today than it was back then.
Okay, you gonna let me finish?
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, sir.
Okay. I know a lot of our members are NRA members, and they're NRA members because the NRA lobbies our legislative bodies to support the agenda of the NRA. And likewise, the ARRL spends a lot of money to lobby legislative bodies for the benefit of ham radio. With technology changing as it is, there is more and more and more and more appetite for RF spectrum. And people are paying big money to get this RF spectrum.
5G.
ARRL is doing everything they can to lobby the legislative bodies to try to protect that spectrum that we use. Back to your issue of the repeaters. You know, if we don't use them, we're going to lose them. We got to use those frequencies. And, you know, when I was a new ham, I'd listen to my ham radio and I'd hear these guys get on the radio and send each other messages. I'd listen to this thing called the National Traffic Net. And I thought, boy, that's just a bunch of guys trying to make themselves feel good about themselves, sending each other messages. And, you know, I've come to realize that that's one way we protect our amateur radio spectrum is to use it. And the NTS is a great way to document the use of that spectrum. And likewise, using our local repeaters and keeping them on the air is a way to do that. But that's something the ARRL does a lot about. ARRL does a lot of public relations. They put out a lot of information to the general public to educate them about ham radio. They have lobbied very heavily over the past few years or limiting antenna regulations by HOAs, which that affects a lot of our hams locally, especially. And I just think for my money, I think it's a darn good investment. So there you go. That's my opinion for what it's worth.
All right, John. Well, I appreciate that, and I do see some value in some of that. I as much as we all have a bad taste in our mouth with lobbyists, they are a necessary evil. Um, I know they weren't very successful with this $35 thing, but then again, how successful can you be against City Hall?
If you'll remember, though, the first proposal was for $50,
Yeah,
and
well,
the ARRL's efforts is what helped that, and also what convinced the FCC to roll these out one body at a time, rather than blanket. So amateur radio is pretty far down the list as far as instituting the fees. Granted, they're going to institute them. They already have for some radio services. They just haven't gotten to us yet.
yeah, and there's a question in the chat room if the ARRL provides their magazine via a digital format. Yes, they do. In fact, they also offer to their members the ability to go back and read past issues as well. That being said, though, you cannot, if you opt out of the printed version of the magazine, you still pay for it. And that was where my biggest problem.
If you opt out of the printed magazine, that saves them the cost of sending that magazine, so they can spend that money on something that's more important.
Yeah, I know. I understand. I just I don't know. I've wanted for a year now to get involved in the national traffic system, and I can't. It took me 2 months just to get a pad of the yellow things, and I got those. And then when I finally got those, it's like nobody will tell me what to do. So here we are. I've been an amateur radio operator for a year. I now have 4 books of pads over here, and I've yet to fill one out because I think they should provide training. There should be some kind of assistance for us, so for new hams coming in to learn this stuff.
You've got to understand, over the past year, training meetings have been awfully hard to have, Ian. We have had several training.
I find Zoom meetings easier to have than regular meetings.
Yes.
I find Zoom trainings and Zoom meetings to be easier to have than classroom meetings and classroom trainings, but that's just me, I guess. I've taught in many classrooms in many different venues around, and I find this to be one of the easiest ways to hold a class. And everybody's comfortable. I don't have to do bathroom breaks. It's great. I don't know. It's one of those things. I probably will, I guess. I want to support ham radio. I want to support the things that are important to ham radio. But I also know that I don't know what, I don't know. I'm at a loss as to, I don't know what, other than the lobbying, which is important. I agree lobbying is important as much as I hate it. But I don't know what else, I mean, the Aries stuff you can do without being a member of the ARRL. I don't know.
Well, here's
anybody, next person that wants to speak on it, come now.
Here's another thing they do, Ian. They keep informed on threats to our spectrum allocations in ways that we can't do, because we don't have the resources to go out all the time looking for this kind of stuff, but they do, and it's not, you're not going to see about that in the general media. So they're the only ones I know of that's going to keep track of, such and such, so and so proposes to use such and such ham band for something else, and that's one thing they do. They keep up with that stuff where we can't. So I think that's worth it from that standpoint as well.
All right, yeah, I understand that. I will say that they go days and days without posting anything new in their news section, but It is what it is. I don't know. And next person with a comment, come down.
I got one.
Yeah.
Um, uh, Ryan was asking about Starlink's. What is Starlink and what is Elon Musk doing with all that? And I've been keeping track with that, so I kind of answered that question. Starlink is what they're going to do is they're going to send up a big amount of small satellites, and they're going to form a ball around Earth, basically. And it's going to provide satellite internet access to, the goal is to do it to the entire Earth, because right now we have certain internet providers which do satellite internet, but they're like really, really slow and they don't have good coverage, and it's just not great. So what SpaceX and Elon Musk are trying to do is make a one system that'll cover the entire Earth. So if you have one of these Starlink satellite dishes, then no matter where you are, once it's finished, no matter where you are on planet Earth, you should be able to get pretty high speed and low latency internet. That's the plan with all that. Right now, they've launched quite a few. They've been launching these rockets like almost once a week. Lately, there haven't been a lot of them, but they used to do them about once a week. There were so many of them. So, and how will it affect us in amateur radio? It will not, as far as I know, affect amateur radio in any way. These satellites operate up in the very high gigahertz spectrum, like 50 gigahertz, 60, 70 gigahertz. They're very high frequency, so there's not a whole lot of ham stuff that goes on up there. So it shouldn't affect anything really. The only effect, the negative that I've seen so far, would be astronomers complaining that the satellites are flying across their telescope and causing reflections. So that's the only negative thing I've heard so far. I don't think it'll affect ham radio, but that's what it is. It's going to be like a global internet provider.
Okay. I want to go back and finish with ARRL. Thank you for that, though. But I do want to run back real quick and make sure there was no other comments on ARRL. I will mention one thing that's upset me. I sent an email to them a while back, and they are responsive. They did respond to me, and we were talking back and forth, which I like. A lot of places don't even respond anymore. Logbook of the World does not allow you to fix errors. And it has driven me so nuts that I'm just about to stop using Logbook of the World. And then they won't get my $50. And I'm going to tell you why. I don't have rig control. I've bought 3 cables. I've got 2 different radios. My radios don't do rig control. All right. They're not doing it. Not going to happen. Everything I do is manual here. It's old school. I did 5 QSOs one day with the radio set on the wrong frequency, or the computer actually set on the wrong frequency. And it saved those 5 QSOs to my logbook of the world. Those are stuck in there forever. There's no way to get them out. So now every time I propagate from Logbook of the World back to my logbook, guess what comes back? Those 5 erroneous logs entries come back every time. So what I've had to do is go in and just mark each of them that this is an erroneous log entry and just leave them in my log as errors. And I am frosted about it. And I sent them an email and said, look, why won't you let us correct things that are wrong in our logbook? And their response was basically, well, because we're ARRL and just because. And then I wrote back and I'm like, just because isn't good enough. I want to know how you're going to get rid of these 6 entries out of my logbook. And she wrote me back and said, they're looking at adding this in future editions of Logbook of the World. That doesn't help me at all today. So I am no longer propagating Logbook of the World back to my logbook. So I no longer get confirmations from Logbook of the World because of these 6 erroneous entries that are in there that I can't get out.
Why is that such a big deal?
I hate it because it puts those, every time I propagate it back, it puts those erroneous entries back in my logbook again. They're wrong. They don't belong there. I'm picky about what goes in my logbook.
Did you put the correct entries in there?
Yeah, they're in there. Mm-hmm.
Did you get confirmations on the erroneous one?
No.
Then what does it hurt?
because every time it propagates back, every time I take the confirmations from Logbook of the World and bring them into my logbook, it brings the erroneous entries back into my logbook again. And then I have to go and find them and delete them again. I don't want erroneous entry. I'm sorry. Am I being too anal about this? I don't know. It's aggravating.
Why are you moving your logbooks back and forth anyway? You know, once it's logged, it's logged.
Well, no, because confirmations are always coming in, so I have to propagate the confirmations back into my logbook. So.
Right, but only the confirmations. You don't have to.
No, it does them all. It does it checks the whole thing. I don't, whatever. It's all right. It's just one of those things. I mean, but it's one of those things that
I don't see why it's an issue. Why it bothers you so. I just.
Because there's errors in my log that they will not let me correct. It's my log. They should not have erroneous information about my log in the cloud.
But you put the erroneous information there. Why is it their problem to fix your mistake?
I'm asking them to allow me to fix my mistake. And they won't. And because of that, it's probably going to cost them $50. I'm going to be honest.
Ian, that's not worth having a stroke over.
Well, it is when every time I move my logbook, those 6 entries come back again. And I cannot find any way to keep them from coming back other than to just not accept any more confirmations from Logbook of the World. And that's what I've done.
Another way to look at it is you're paying $50 to use this logbook. They better have some good features in there for
you would think
$50.
it would work. Anyway.
But you're not paying $50 to use that.
Oh wait, it's part of ARRL.
For a magazine that I don't read.
Oh, see, I thought Logbook of the World was a separate service than
no, it's ARRL. It's all ARRL. You can tell.
Book of the World is a separate entity. Yes, it's sponsored by ARRL, but it's also sponsored by Yazoo.
Oh, well, I went through ARRL when I spoke to somebody about it.
It doesn't cost anything to use it. ARRL requirement or membership is not a requirement. It's a totally separate entity. And it's really not a logbook. It's a confirmation service.
Exactly. So we don't want to have things confirming in there that are not true.
But you said they weren't confirmed.
No, they weren't confirmed because the proper ones were confirmed. But it doesn't matter that they weren't confirmed because they still come back into my logbook every time I get confirmations from Logbook of the World. And I get stuck with those again. I don't know. Like I said, it's something that's stuck in my craw for a while now, and it's something they're not willing to work with me on. And so I'm going to find another way. Luckily, most people are confirming through QRZ now. I'm getting a lot of confirmations through QRZ, so I suggest using that.
I'm getting a lot more from Logbook of the World. I track the percentages, and I can tell you exactly what they are. I could give you down to decimal points, but I won't.
Well, and you know what? What I do is about once every 2 weeks, I will do a download from Upload of a Logbook of the World. And I will then go and delete all the erroneous entries back out of my logbook, and then I will let it sit again for 2 weeks to a month because I don't want to have to deal with it.
75% of my QSOs are confirmed on Logbook of the World. 52% are confirmed on QRZ. That tells me the whole story right there.
Hold on, say those percentages over again.
75.87% of my contacts are confirmed on Logbook of the World.
I mean,
of everything I've ever logged since I've been a ham.
What about QRC?
On QRZ, 52.47.
That's over 100%.
No, because
No.
most of them are confirmed on both. So
Oh,
yeah, they'll
Ah.
confirm on one, the other, or both. So most people that do one will do the other. So
Well, no, obviously 25% more people are doing Logbook of the World than are doing QRZ. That's what that tells me, or 23%.
yeah.
All right, well, let me ask this. Okay, Ian, you're getting no telemetry from your radio. In other words, you're not, I log here. I always have the frequency data coming from my radio.
I don't have that. I have to manually set my radio, then manually set WSJTX, and then go.
Is that
And I have to
because
make
your
sure they
radio
both
won't
match.
do that, or is it because you just haven't hooked it up?
No, trust me, I've spent way more hours than I care to think about trying to get rig control for either one of these radios, and I give up. I'm done. I give up. They won't do it. They won't talk to the computer.
Huh.
I bought a cable for my ICOM 756 Pro 2. It never worked. Never worked. And I bought a cable for the FT100, and it never worked. I even bought a Ham Radio Deluxe, which is supposed to be great software. Never worked. Garbage software, and their technicians are idiots. And it never worked. And so I bought a third cable for the FT100. Hooked it up. I've tried 3 different computers, 2 different radios, 5 different cables in all. Nothing works. So I give up. I do everything manually. I dial in my radio manually, and I dial in my computer manually. And yeah, it's frustrating. It sucks. You know when it really sucks is when I'm contesting on voice, because I have to manually type in my frequency every time. I have to literally type in my frequency every time I make a contact. But if that's what I have to do to be on ham radio, I'm poor. I got to do what I got to do. And it's $70 a cable. I'm like $250 in on cables right now.
Man, we gotta fix
That's
those
like
somehow. I bet
16
we could.
things, isn't it?
Huh?
It's like
Look.
16 buffets.
John, I'm going to tell you something. Every Bofeng I bought programmed the moment I bought it. Every TYT programmed the moment I bought it. Plugged right in, plugged right in, plugged right in. This Yazoo and this ICOM are the most finicky things I've ever used in my life when it comes to hooking up this stuff. Yeah, they're great radios. The transmitters are wonderful. The receivers are great. And they're tough, and they'll last forever. They last forever because they don't work half the time, so there's a lot lower duty cycle. I get frustrated because, you know, I've spent so much time trying to get these damn radios hooked up to this computer, and it won't hook up. And at the end of the day, I've literally just threw all them cables in a box and went to manually doing it myself, and that's what I do now. Welcome to my life.
Might be able to get those cables working. I mean, if you've tried 3 different ones and they've all not worked, there must be some kind of common problem here.
I'm
Yeah, it's
wondering
probably
if there's
me.
a menu item in those radios that need to be turned on or something.
Yeah, I've gone through all that. Trust me, I've gone through the radio side. I've tried 5 or 6 different programs, including the best and worst one in the world, HRD, and none of them work. None of them work. They don't work. And their tech support was unable to get either one of my radios working with HRD software. They're wonderful technicians. Yeah. Can you tell I'm a little sour about this? I'm sorry, guys. Let's move on. I just it angers me. Everything you guys give China such a hard time, but everything I bought from China has worked. Now it only works for 6 or 8 months, and the magic smoke comes out, but it works. All right. So how did you guys do on the 13 colonies?
Got them all CW.
I hate you, Rick Black.
Well, it was a real battle. The biggest problem was Rhode Island, that wayward county of Connecticut that didn't want to put a CW operator on. That thing about drove me crazy. I finally talked to somebody up there on phone, and then about 3 hours later, I got them on CW. But they didn't want to run a CW operator for some reason.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
It always seems like with this thing, I have one state that's the holdout, that's a problem. And you got New Jersey and South Carolina were the other two holdouts. But Rhode Island was just about impossible. But we got them all, and I got the WM3PEN also. But I got them all on CW.
Well, I mentioned this before the net started to the people in the chat room earlier, but I actually was not able to finish because this is so crazy. I've had a crazy week with sick cats and everything else. But okay, who's Henry?
N1GTQ.
N1GQT.
Oh,
Yeah. Henry, do you want to share the screen? What you got?
your mic
Okay.
is muted.
Yeah. If you want to share your screen, just come on and tell us what you got, and I'll be glad to let you share.
I think he was on a phone. I'm not sure.
Well, we're going to be here a while, so we got plenty of time. Come on back in and let me know, and we'll get you on there. Okay. Yeah. As far as mine, I had an issue with my HF. Would you believe it or not? Every time my HF rig would key up on 20 or 40 or just about anything except 6, it would actually cause interference on, and it would shut down the audio for the video stream that I had going to YouTube during the storm. And we're going to talk about that here in a few minutes. So basically what it ended up doing was totally screwing me up. I ended up not able to use my HF rig during the time that I was doing the broadcasting with the storm. So here's what I got. That's what I got. I got a few of the stations on multiple bands. But there's what I got. I got a few 30s. I got a few 40s. It's one of the rare things you can actually get people on 30, because that's not a work band. So normally they don't use that for contests, but this is a little different. But yeah, that's what I got. I got a couple of 80s, a couple of 40s, 30s, 20s, but I didn't get Pennsylvania, Rhode Island, or New York, unfortunately, and I had to shut down my HF. So, but that's what I got. All right. Anybody with anything else on the 13 colonies? And Steve, I saw your log there. I saw you got them too. Yeah. Anybody with anything else? All right. That's a fun one. I'm definitely doing that one again next year. All right. I'm going to open it back up real quick. Is anybody having a topic they would like to bring forward at this time? Okay. Moving on. Breaking news. Sting. This just in.
Breaking.
I'm going to get the Fox News breaking news sounder to go here. I think that would be really cool. Sting. All right. The first X-Class Solar Fair has happened. You know, it's been 4 years since we've had an X-Class flare. Now, the bad news, this one was facing away from us. It was shooting out the side. As you guys know, the sun is literally like a gun that spins around. And if it's like Russian roulette. And if the gun's facing you when it goes off, you get it. Well, the gun wasn't facing us when it went off this time. And so we're not going to get it. But we did get the HF blackout. The radio waves that come in at the speed of light. Remember, we talked about this when we did the show on the sun. The radio waves come in at the speed of light. And the HF blackout happens moments after the solar flare, 6 minutes or so, at the speed that it takes for it to arrive here at the speed of light. It happens, blacks out communications for only a short amount of time, up to a few hours, depending on the event. And it generally only affects HF communication on the lighted side of the planet at the time of the incident. So that's what happened with this X flare. We got this intense burst of radio emissions coming from the sun, and it was so intense that it washed out all of the communications going on HF here on the planet and basically caused what they call radio blackout. We did not get the slower coronal mass ejection that comes later because it was facing away from us. The radio blackout moves in all directions. It's like basically an omnidirectional event. The solar mass ejection, on the other hand, where we actually blow stellar matter off into space, that's an event that happens in a directional fashion. So you just have to kind of look at that when you're looking at radio blackout. That'll happen anytime the incident is visible to us. We can get radio blackout. But for the coronal mass ejection to create the geomagnetic storms and all that come later, it has to be Earth directed, or at least near Earth directed, so we can get a glancing blow from it. But this one here, it's cool because it's letting us know that the next solar cycle is actually begun, and that hopefully it won't be long, and we'll be getting much better propagation out there. We actually had 3 or 4 days last week, or early this week, where the the solar flux was in the 90s for about 3 days, and the 20 and 40 was running great. I just kind of explained all of this to you. Something neat about X flares. The one that happened the other day was an X1. There's no cap on those. The strongest one that ever happened that we've recorded is an X28 flare that happened in 2003. So when it comes to solar flares, there's no upper range. They basically can go up as high as it needs to go to encompass the event that's happening now. And like I said, the July 3rd 1.5 solar flare is not going to have any Earth effect after the original HF blackout. Okay, the next thing, it's back. The 220 is back. 220 is back. We need a song for this. Yeah, see, I told you I had a slide for this. The 220 is back thanks to the Fort Myers Amateur Radio Clubs and the members there, and special thanks to 1 or 2 of their members that kicked in some extra cash. We got the 220 back up, and the big news here is 2 things. One, it's high, it's in downtown Fort Myers, and it's propagating like crazy up there. You got to try it out. Number 2, there's a PL tone now, so if you used to talk on it before, your radio may not work. It may need to be programmed with a PL tone. There's all the information. The guys have been working real hard. That's what Robert Pantasis and who else? It was the 2 guys. John, help me out.
Ryan and
Ryan Darley and Steve Smith.
Steve Smith. Yeah, those 3 guys have worked very hard on this project. Great guys, and they've worked tirelessly on this, and we've got this up. The climbers actually went up early this morning. I actually sent out the newsletter this morning, and I said they are on the tower as we speak. Okay, and the No Name Net will start up this coming Wednesday. It's the net with no name, which technically means it has a name. Well, that's for another day. Okay. I don't know. Anyway, yeah, and it's all new equipment, guys. So it's going to work really good. Another streaming channel has hit the air. This one by Joseph is put up. He is streaming the 440, 450 megahertz, the WB4FOW linked system. Why don't you tell us about that, Joseph?
Okay, so this stream is taken from the local repeater here in North Fort Myers. It's 444.450 megahertz. The PL tone is 77 hertz. The repeater is actually linked to a whole bunch of other repeaters. The main one is down in Naples. There's a down right by Golden Gate is where it is, and it's a pretty big repeater down there. And I can actually talk direct into that repeater with my beam antenna. But there's not a whole lot of activity on there. But when people do want to talk on there, it's usually me and one other person. And we have some fun on there. And then apparently it's linked to a whole bunch of other repeaters. There's a 220 repeater in there. There's a couple of repeaters that's linked to, but I don't know where they are, and I don't know their call signs, so I can't really figure out what that is. But I've never heard anyone talking on there using the other stations. So I'm just streaming. The main 2 repeaters are the 900 down in Naples and the 450 here in North Fort Myers that are linked together. That's the main ones that I'm streaming.
Very cool. And that's a system I didn't even know about because it's not on the ARRI standard frequency list. So something to check out there.
It is.
The Naples repeater, Dave AC3AV wants to know what the frequency is for the Naples repeater. And the frequency is 443.900. with a PL tone of, I believe it's also 77 hertz. Let me check here real quick. I got it programmed in. I think it's 77 hertz, and of course the offset is just going to be +5 because that's what every UHF repeater. No, it's 67 hertz for the Naples one. So 443 to 967 hertz is the information for the Naples repeater, and that's a pretty big system they have up there. It's on the county barn, if you know where that is, down in Naples. So that's that system.
And John, you are correct. I stand corrected. It's channel 30 on the ARRI standard frequency list. Thank you.
Indeed.
Gotta watch me, man. Gotta watch me. All right. And I'll slide this over so you can see it there. It is channel 30 on the ARRI standard frequency list. All right. And then we are also streaming the FMARC repeater. This one right here now has the 220 as well. Okay, so if you go to this one and listen, you will also hear everything it has listed here and the 220 and more. We've actually added about 6 new repeaters to this one since I made this list. So there's a lot on here. The second one is more of a listening pleasure type thing right now. It's just the basically channel 1 and channel 22, which is the 685. And that's really all that's on that one. And then the third one is SARnet. And SARnet has been very, very, very busy lately. I put this one up. No one was streaming SARnet. Do you believe that? SARnet's all over the entire state. There's 42 repeaters or something up right now. And nobody was streaming this anywhere. So I went ahead and started streaming it. Well, sure enough, the storm came and I put an alert on it that we were doing live storm coverage. And next thing you know, this is crazy, we were the #1 repeater in the world on Broadcastify and on Police Scanner. And by the way, I've got moderate rainfall here at my house. So, but no lightning yet, thank God. Okay. But yeah, look at that. #1 scanner. I know this screen capture here is hard to see through the broken screen that I took it through and everything, but I actually captured this one off a device. You can see the alert that I put in there, and you can see that it's the #1 feed when you hit top 50. Here's the scanner, Police Scanner app. If you guys have the Police Scanner app, you're familiar with that. You're probably used to it orange at the top. Notice we were the #1 scanner under 50 scanners. So I just thought this was pretty cool. Of all the scanners in the world, ours was being listened to the most. So that was pretty cool. And John, audio provided by Baofeng. It was actually pretty clean audio too. These little Baofengs have some fairly clean audio coming out of the side plug. But anyway, there you go. So I literally side plugged out of one of these with a little homebrew 440 Yagi that I built out of a piece of wood. I swear to God. And it's stuck up on the side, and it's a 5-element Yagi that's a piece of 2x2 wood. 2x4, it's 1x2 wood, and it's just got pieces of tape measure stuck on it with screws.
That was okay when the tower, it was not on the tower?
No, that one was not on the tower. It actually did fine. Because SARnet's so close and because it's a Yagi, it's mounted 8 feet above the ground over on the side over here. And it's
protected
crystal
from
clear.
the wind?
Protected from the wind and not as susceptible to lightning, of course. And then, but the biggest thing is I don't have to put it up high at all because I'm so close that with a Yagi, I get a clear signal even at like 10 feet. So it works. So yeah, that was that. We had a total, the high count was 695 total concurrent listeners at one time. Contest this weekend. Well, there they are. There wasn't much this weekend. This is another thing where I wish I could do something about this in ham radio. The problem in ham radio now is everybody has their own little stupid contest. You know what we really need to do? There needs to be one big contest each weekend. That's what really needs to happen. Here's another Ian minute. But I got to tell you, when you have 93 contests on a weekend, it's like, okay, you're going to talk to 3 people. But I really wish sometimes like we would have like field days more often, like big contests on the weekend that literally more people get involved with. And what I've realized is that if we took the 39 contests that are going on this weekend and made one big contest out of it, it'd be a lot of fun. But anyway, here's the two big ones that I found. All the rest of them run less than 5 or 6 hours. These are the only two that run more than a day. The first one there, I think, is CW only, which leaves most of us out. And the second one there is CW and phone. That's the HF World Championship for IARU, which I don't even know exactly what that is. But that's all there is this weekend for contests. Those are on our contest page if you need to find out more about those. Co-host Annette, I'm asking if anybody out there wants to co-host with us. We would really appreciate it. I'm specifically looking for somebody to do JS8 call. I'm specifically wanting somebody to come and show us a deep dive on FL Digi. I'm admitting it. I'm having a hard time with this stuff, and I don't have enough time to sit here and spend 10 hours a day for 6 days on it, trying to figure it all out myself so that I can then turn around and teach you guys how to do it. I'm really hoping to find someone that's already using it, someone that's experienced, that can come show us how to use it. I don't care what your expertise is. As long as it's technical, get with me and let's do a net. I'm going to make it real easy for you. I'll do a lot of your research. I'll make your slideshow. I'll make it look great. All you have to do is teach. I'll facilitate. All right. It's real simple. And of course, the Southwest Florida TechNet is a wealth of resources. You guys know all this already. You can get all these things right on our website by just clicking on the tabs along the top up there. Okay. And that's pretty much that. Let me get into this other screen here. All right, the Southwest Florida TechNet. I wanted to show you guys this button up here is to sign up for the newsletter, the one just to the right of the one that you press to get into this meeting probably. If you click that, it simply just brings you to this screen here on another page. So you can actually just do it right on the front page if you want. Just put your call sign and put your email. That's all you have to do. And I'll send you some information. If you click on more information, you can actually see what it's going to look like. Okay, I actually have the one I sent out earlier today available here, so that you can see. Actually, that's an old one, but that way you can see what it's actually going to look like. Because I want you, if you're going to sign up for it, I would like you to see what it's actually going to look like. It doesn't have any advertising at all, other than for this net and amateur radio stuff that we don't get paid for. But I just basically have all the different topics. I'll have maps, I'll have things, what's going on, local regional events, news updates, sporadic space weather, talk about the TechNet, what's coming up on the next TechNet, news updates, all different things on different radios. That was all about the 220 radios, how to buy them. And this is another example of another one. If you'd like to get these emails, all you have to do is just put your name and your call sign and hit press send, and that's it. And when you do that, you'll get 2 to 4 or 5 a week at the most. There's usually 2 a week, and unless there's a storm or something out there or something big going on. All right, that's about it for that. Sign up for that right there. And I want to draw your attention to one other thing. If you guys were interested in that satellite thing we did with the weather satellites, Joseph's video is here. Exactly what you got to do to get the thing working. Okay, so don't forget that when you go to set this thing up or go to try it out, it's here. If it's not here anymore, it will always be on our YouTube page forever. So just go there and find it, and he will help you and walk you through that. Okay, and of course you can always find our nets. Here's our streams that we have, and everything is right there. If you want to join the club, this is the button right here. Join today. You click that button to join the TechNet. All I want, name, email, phone, call sign. That's it. That's it. I don't want money. And then we'll deal with all that later. I just want to get you on the mailing list, get you into a meeting, let you help us write the bylaws, and you can be one of the founders of this thing. It's going to be great. And that's pretty much that. This is the Southwest Florida Technical Team website, which is a little bit different than the TechNet website. It's actually a different website, and it actually explains all the different things we're doing with the tech team on the tech team website. And the easiest way to get to the tech team website, because I haven't bought a domain name for it yet, the easiest way to get to the tech team website, because we're just starting out, is from the TechNet page. Just click the big blue button right there. That's the best way to get to it. All right. Does anybody have anything else they'd like to bring up at this point? Anyone, anywhere? Come now.
Ham was asking what frequency sweeping was. I think he's referring to when you're on the HF radio and you hear the little doot, you hear the little thing go past, or if you're on the software defined radio, you see it coming on the scope and it goes past, goes doot.
Yep.
Do you know what that is? I kind of know what it is. I think it's some sort of they use it to study that the bands and see how they react or something. Does anybody
Really,
know what those are?
I heard it a couple times where it goes, yo, and it goes kind of slow. It almost sounded like somebody had keyed their mic and spun the dial. That's what it sounded like to me, but I don't know what it is.
This one I think usually goes pretty quick. It's like a doot. But I've heard it and seen it a lot on the software defined radio, and I don't know what, I think they're called ionosond or something like that. But I wondered if anyone else knew what those were exactly.
Anyone?
Bueller.
Man, no one knows. I can't believe this.
Well, it is one of those things. I swear you could get 1,000 people that are hams together and we'll find something that none of us know about, because there's so much to know. All right. Next topic. Anyone come now?
It's called Digisond, Ionosond. It's a system of radar for allowing propagation understanding.
Wow.
You said Digisond, S-O-N?
No,
Digisonde, or Ionosond, Ionsonde. It's a system to understand the ionospheric propagation systems, layers.
wow.
Interesting stuff.
I wonder if that's what they use to like predict where there's going to be propagation. Here's like, I just found a global ionosphere map. I wonder if this is something to do with it.
That's what it's for, is to understand the propagation characteristics of the ionosphere.
What is that? The actual Digisond? What?
Well, those are the old ones. Look at the dates. They've got those. Actually cool. It's showing you a history of what their system has looked like over the years. I love stuff like that.
Well, this is how we hams communicate around the world to understand the refraction characteristics of the ionosphere, and the Digisond is a mapping of that.
Wow. So that's what you're seeing whenever it comes up and goes across. Wow.
Well, I think that's a system that I don't fully understand, that there is a way to send out a signal at various frequencies throughout the bands to see what is reflected back to the Earth to predict the refraction capabilities.
I don't know exactly what it is, but I want one. Send me two, because I'll make the magic smoke come out of the first one. I guarantee it. All right. Well, there we go. There it is, I guess. They've even got like a global map on here.
Yeah, that's what I saw. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Well, that's interesting stuff. But they actually have like a little map on here of all the places or something.
Yeah, there's two pretty close to us, it looks like. Eglin. I wonder if that's an Eglin Air Force Base.
Yeah, it's Eglin. Yeah, that's
Eglin.
yeah. Interesting stuff. Okay, well anyway. All right. Next thing, come now.
Any stations with formal written traffic, please call now.
All right, we'll do formal written traffic now, I guess.
Net control.
That's what I need to do is get somebody to come on the TechNet and teach us how to do message handling. That's what then we'll actually get it. I'd love to learn it.
Oh. No.
There you go, Joseph. There's your
Now-
next
I must admit, I'm having a hard time with the whole let's send a message all the way across the country by radio just to quote, send it by text. Op note, send it by text. That's the only one I'm having a problem with, dude. Op note, send by text. Op note, why'd you send it this way then? Okay, no, I know we're practicing. I get it. I'm just kidding. All right.
Well, this rain is still here, so I can't put my tower back up until it goes away.
I don't see no flickering flashing out there.
Well, the lightning has calmed down quite a bit, but
I don't know if you guys can see
Anybody
it,
else
but
having trouble keeping their internet connection going tonight? Mine isn't worth a damn.
I haven't
Oh, it
had any
does.
problems.
Not in and out.
I mean, we're all here with our live camera going, so
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
My internet can't seem to stay on.
Well, Joseph flaked out earlier, and so did John. But I thought it was on my end because of bandwidth issues on my end. So if nobody else heard that, I don't think we're having any issues.
I was going to say, I haven't seen any blips or anything.
Yeah, that was on my end. That was internal bandwidth with my laptop because I'm doing 19 things with it.
Yeah.
It's making toast on another screen.
Mine hasn't been able to stay on. I get a blinking red light and such crazy stuff. They'll keep
I
on
hate blinking
trying
red
to keep
lights.
mobiles out. I'm not happy.
Especially in my rearview mirror.
Oh, well, the blue ones are even worse. Okay, so that's that. I really don't have anything else, guys. So tell me what we got here. What else do we have? I've had a
Okay,
crazy week.
I'll pick it up for a minute.
Okay, go ahead, John.
Let me put in a quick plug for the Florida WinLink net. And
WinLink, another thing I'd love to do.
well, there you go. I think you should, especially
Not up to me.
Especially for you HF guys. Every week, the Florida WinLink net publishes a list of frequencies and times and stations that are accepting peer-to-peer WinLink messages. And that's kind of a good way to exercise your HF and get some practice at doing HF WinLink. And the more tools you have in your box, the better off you're going to be if something should happen. And that's kind of the whole basis of the Florida WinLink net, is to try to pass WinLink messages in as many different means as you can. Probably half our guys that use WinLink go through the same server every time. And if that server is down, they may be screwed, if you'll pardon the expression. But this is a way to practice several different modes or several different means of accessing WinLink. So just a plug for that. The website is w4akh.net. And Ian, if you'll give me permission, I'll share a quick screenshot.
Yes, go ahead.
Well, if I can find my share screenshot.
That's always the hardest part's finding that darn bar. It's even harder than when you're drunk and you're trying to find another bar.
Joseph just put it in the chat window, so I'll accept that.
1 second.
All right, what was that website again while you're looking for it?
It's in the chat.
4 Alpha Kilo Hotel .net, N-E-T.
Okay, I got it. Appreciate it.
Well, John, until you get it, I'll go ahead and share it here.
There you go.
And if you still want to try to share, go ahead. But I'll leave it up until you get going.
You've got it up, so that's all I.
Oh, is that all you? Okay, cool.
Yeah.
There we go. Can everybody read that? Is it big enough?
Yeah, great.
Yeah, WinLink is something that I wanted to do a long time ago, and I tried and tried and tried, and it's just on that list of things that I passed away. I just gave up on it. I tried HF. You know what really upsets me when my FT8 works and my FTL Digi works and my FT4 works and I can record and send audio on any way I want with both radios, but WinLink will not work with either radio on any band, any way, shape, or form. So I'm a voice guy. I asked Steve, I said, Steve, is this going to keep me off the team? And he said, no. He said, it helps that you have it to be on the team. But no, it's not. Voice is our primary mode. So I gave up on it. And I'm a voice guy. I would love to do WinLink. But I guess I'm going to have to purchase something to make it work with my radio or something. I don't know. Why would FT8 work just fine on HF and VHF and UHF? I have used FT8 on everything from 160 to 440 on both radios with 3 different systems I've got set up here. The old acoustic couple all the way up to what I have now. Nothing works with WinLink.
You probably need some sort of a software TNC.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I hear it going out over the radio, but it never connects. So, yeah, I know that there is a software TNC thing that you can try with the VHF, UHF that simulates it or something. I don't know much about it, but with the HF, it's supposed to connect directly up from what it says. So, but I have no idea. So, it is what it is. You know, but it just shows you that we each get into this and we will always find something that's just going to defeat us, unfortunately. I've got several of these. But I found a lot of other things in ham radio to be a whole lot of fun. So I just concentrate on what I can do. Once something gets to about 30 hours of my time, I throw it in the garbage. And WinLink is well over 30 hours of my time. Matter of fact, I spent an entire weekend, 12 hours a day for 2 days. My wife was going to leave me working on WinLink. And I finally sent Steve a 2-page letter telling him how much I hate WinLink. Oh, my God. He writes me back, so I guess you don't like WinLink. Whatever. One day I'll figure it out. I'm hoping that maybe one day there'll be some solution beyond this that I can use, like maybe something that's integrated, or maybe eventually I'll get a radio that connects directly to a computer. Because I'm telling you guys something, the connection between radio computer is a real problem for a lot of people. And it was a real problem for me until I realized that you just need to connect it up. You just got to connect it up, make it work. But it's a mess for a lot of people. And a lot of people get discouraged with it. I know several people that never did FT8 because they never got it working. What a shame. And I got to also tell you, most amateur radio software is written by people out of the goodness of their heart. So what does that mean? Some of it's not the best software. Sorry, it's true.
Same thing for open source.
Yeah. And it is what it is. Then of course you got a few weird anomalies out there that you pay a lot of money for, and they're garbage. Um, but I won't mention HRD again. But I do know when it comes to when it comes to all this different stuff, if you can't get that radio connection working between your radio and your computer, there's not a whole lot you can do anymore, because hardly nobody's on HF anymore unless there's a contest. So, all right. Does anybody have anything else they want to talk about? Any comments on any of that stuff we just talked about? Anybody want to tell me how good their WinLink works?
Mine works wonderfully.
I'm sure it does. I'm
It's
sure
be
it
working better than my internet is tonight. It doesn't work with me.
does. Oh man. I make fun of all this now, but there was a time when it really aggravated me. Really aggravated me. That WinLink is something that is actually an asset to the emergency management program. It's a way to send ICS forms. If you think about it, it's a way to almost instantaneously send a checked form that we know is correct from one place to another, and it gets there every time.
Yeah,
I think WinLink is wonderful. I just wish it wasn't so ignorant to use. Everybody has problems getting it going. Everybody has problems with this. I hear the guys all the time, oh, I couldn't connect to this node. I couldn't connect to that node. I couldn't get this to work. I can't get VARA to work. I even have a guy in Charlotte County signed me up for his VARA. I've got the good VARA that gives you the high speed, but it doesn't work. It's worthless to me.
Good night, Ham. Ham was going.
All right, see you later, buddy. Is anybody else using VARA out there yet?
I do quite frequently, yes.
Yeah, it was supposed to work without all the problems, but it didn't work either. So I don't know. It must be the same issue affecting that, I guess, as well.
I'll tell you, the subscription is kind of pricey.
Yeah.
And, unless you use it really a lot, you won't notice the difference by subscribing. I did, because I use it a lot, but probably not enough to make it worth $70.
Well, you get, I don't know if you know it or not, but you get 10 subscriptions with that. And one of the guys in Charlotte County gave out his other 9 subscriptions, and I got one of them.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So I actually have the paid version of VARA sitting there not working.
But even the unpaid version works fine. It just isn't quite as fast.
Right.
But for somebody that sends 3 or 4 messages a week, it's fine.
Yeah. I want to do the WinLink exercises on the weekend so I can start learning WinLink. That's my thing, is I feel like everybody else is learning this stuff and I'm missing out. It's like it's going by me and everybody else is learning it. And then everybody else is going to get to the other side. They're all going to know it. And I'm still going to be sitting here not knowing anything about it. That's what really sucks. But it is what it is. That's all right. I went to the last Aries meeting, walked in there with my task book that I have been working on for 5 months, took all the classes, took extra classes, took everything. I'm ready to be signed off all the way to level 3. I walk in there and lay it on the table. It's the wrong task book. I've spent 5 months working on the wrong task book.
Poor Ian.
I basically just came home, threw it in a pile and said, you know what? I'm probably just not going to bother. I mean, so they sent me the task book. Why are we not sent that right away? I don't know. But I was finally sent the new task book after they realized I had the wrong one. And that's something every new member should get, is the task book that you need to start working on, if it's different than the ARL standard task book. So I don't know. I've got this new one. I've got it all filled out. I've got all the dates put in it. I guess I don't know. It's different how it gets signed off, so I don't know what it's going to come out as. So I don't know, but I am going to go to the next Aries meeting and turn it in and see what they say.
Oh, if you've done all the stuff, all you need to do is transcribe it to the different book anyway.
No, it's different stuff. A lot of the training is the same.
Most of it's the same. There are a couple of differences, but
Yeah, I mean, a lot of it. There's a lot of stuff on the local one that's not on the regular one, and vice versa. So, but it ain't no biggie. I'll get there. It's this is just all these frustrations in amateur radio. It's why I started this net. It's why I started the group. That's why I'm doing all this, because there's a lot of frustrations. Amateur radio is very frustrating. This has been one of the more frustrating things I've ever done, was trying to get into ham radio. It's very frustrating, and I want to try to make it less frustrating for the people that come up behind me. You know, so that's kind of what I've been working on.
Yeah.
I mean, I would love to. We should have a day where we bring our computers to somewhere, and we set up our computer and our radio, and we have 50 people there that can come and help me get it going.
There you go.
Why don't we do that? It blows my mind that we don't do stuff like that. They let us sit here in our own shacks and wallow in a pool of motion and not be able to ever get anything done. Why don't we get together and help us fix each other's computers? I find out some guys he's been 2 months trying to get Chirp to program his radio. I could have had it going in 2 seconds. And while I'm getting his Chirp going, he could be getting my WinLink going. I don't understand why we don't do this. We don't. I used to go to the Commodore 64 meetings over at the F building at Edison Community College. And we would all meet up there with our computers, and we would set up our computers all on tables around this room. And then we would all move around helping each person get their computer doing what it needed to do. We did this in the 80s.
That's just something that we don't see a lot of anymore, is in-person stuff. I would definitely love a meeting, even if it's like, once a month or something, where, I mean, we should do that. I mean, if this club is going to be, if this group we're starting up here is going to be about technology and stuff and the actual physical stuff that it involves, absolutely, we should have like a monthly thing where you can bring whatever project that you need help with. I mean, I know I would make so much use out of that with stuff I'm trying to figure out, because I could bring it over and I'd be like, here, everybody take a look at it and see what the problem is. That would be fantastic. I love that idea.
Yep. What do I need? A laptop, my radio, my power supply, and a dummy load, and we can fix this thing.
Yeah, we could fix your red control.
Yeah, I could bring all these cables. I guarantee if I brought all these cables and I let all these different people, John and Robert and all these guys that are really good with stuff, and you guys, everybody had a shot at getting my rig control working, I guarantee you in an hour that rig control will be working. But I don't get that. We can't get that kind of help going.
Yes, we can. That's the whole point of this thing we're starting up, man.
Well, I know.
I mean,
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Now we're doing it now, but I want to get it going now. I want to find a place to meet. I want to find a room, a bingo hall. I've actually already got a couple in mind I'm going to check on that I know the people that work there. I'd like to find a bingo hall, some air-conditioned room somewhere that's not being used on Saturday afternoon, and have a 4-hour, you bring it, you set it up, and we'll help you fix it day.
That'd be really cool.
And we can build antennas. We can tune antennas. Bring your antennas. We have tuners. We got our antenna guys over there with 3 tuners. Go see them. I mean, I just see this as being, of course, I saw this all with the swap shop too. I wanted to do all this with the swap shop, where we had a tuning bench and we had radios set up all the time so people could practice. And we had a couple of tables where we could do small things. I had a lot of things I wanted to do at the swap shop too. But We all know what's going on there. I'd
Swap
love to
shop
have
is tomorrow.
Yeah,
We're gonna be setting up a radio in there and hopefully doing some cleaning out of the swap shop. So
I'm glad to hear it. It may get to the point where I'll go back, but not now. Not after paying what I paid for those ferrite traps. Anyway,
gosh.
all right. Does anybody else have an next thing? What else you guys got? Anything else? If there's nothing else for the official meeting, I'm going to head and close the stream. Does anybody have anything else?
We have some. We have the YouTube chat here. There's been some activity in this. No questions, but we did have another person here just say that they would like the idea of the tech support meeting or whatever we would call it.
Excellent. Yeah,
so
I got my
that's just it.
I got my YouTube chat up. I didn't have it up. I apologize. There's so much to watch here, but I'm gonna have to get used to keeping that up as well. But yeah, you know, we got to do something to help people get going because this new stuff is very complicated, and I'm going to be the first to admit it. A lot of it's over my head, so we need people to help us all get going here. I struggled with FT8 for almost 30 days before I made my first contact on it, and I had to do it with this pair of headphones and this microphone. I had it stuck on there like that, and then I had it stuck inside a padded box. That was my that's my acousticouple right there, acousticouple rig. You think I'm kidding? I made 2,000 contacts with this rig right here.
He picked up that microphone, and I wasn't so sure it wasn't a pistol. Bang!
Yeah. Oh Lord, you know.
I know I've had this happen before too. I had years I couldn't figure out packet radio, and I worked with computers and stuff, and I couldn't get anything going with packet radio worth a flip. So it's just one of those things. You get some people together who can solve these issues, who have a feel for how it behaves, and that's a big thing. You know, written instructions are fine, but if people don't understand how something behaves when it's not working right, you ain't gonna be able to fix it.
Yeah, and you know, there's one other thing. In every amateur radio program that I've used so far, there's at least one little quinky dink. There's always one little extra thing you got to click. Oh, well, you didn't like my SDR Sharp. I've told this story like 3 times. I get my SDR Sharp, plug it in, turn it on, play with it for about 2 hours, come to the conclusion that it's a fake piece of crap. And I threw it in my parts box. 6 months later, I'm talking to Joseph. He says, yeah, I got those. Those are great. I got a bunch of them. I'm like, yeah, I got one. It's a piece of crap. It's broke. I said, I ended up with a counterfeit when I only paid $25 for it. And I ended up with a counterfeit when I'm really mad. He says, well, let me take it home and check it for you and make sure. He goes, dude, you didn't have the gain turned up. It's a little thing like that. I didn't turn the gain up. Now, it's this little slider that's almost the same color as everything around it. Am I right on that? That slider is like almost the same color as everything around it. You don't even notice it. And it's inside this thing that's inside this thing. And I'm like, I didn't know that if you buy this thing and if you don't go in and turn this up, it's worthless. So that's one of those little quinky dinks that I'm talking about. Yeah. And I threw this thing away for 6 months. I'm looking at it and throw it in I don't throw things out that might have some potential like that, but I'm looking at it and throw it in the garbage because I thought it was ruined. I couldn't even pick up my radio station from here. And all it was you have to turn the gain from 0 to like 80. And then you hear everything. So it's a quinky dink. There's a few with FT8 too. There's a few little quinky dinks where, you know, if you got to click this and click that, and then it works better. You know, there's always those little things that are not well explained. There's little like FT8, for instance, it's got a lot of little check boxes and stuff. You have to know what those mean. They're all very important, but they're marked like TX first. So like you're gonna not know what that means unless you went and read the damn manual, you know. So yeah, so there's just always these little things, and it would be so much easier if we just had a group set up where we could do that. And then
It's like JS8 call. None of us
Yep.
know that. We don't figure that out.
I want to figure JSA out. We all want to. You know, Charlotte County CC Flares is testing JS8 call as their primary. They're using JSA call, and they're sending ICS forms over it.
Maybe we need to get one of them to come on this on Friday night one week and talk to us about it.
Yeah, let me get with those guys up there, K3FHP and those guys up there. I'll get with them, and I'm sure that they'll. I never really thought about just actually going out and asking somebody, but let me send them an email and say, who do you got that can do this for us? Huh?
Imagine that. Ask somebody. What a concept.
Well, John, I shouldn't have to go beg people to come on here and teach stuff to people. So, but I guess I'm going to have to. I really thought this would be something people would jump on, but it's not. So
Well,
I'm going to have to be persuasive, I guess. I'm not a good salesman.
You have to twist arms and you have to go out and approach people. I mean, unfortunately, that's the way life is.
Yeah. Well, I also work in commercial radio where I'm used to the fact that we've got 50 people a night that would love to come on our radio, and I have to fight them off with a stick. It's a little different on here. All right.
Ooh. There was a really big lightning thing just happened an hour here in the thunder. My 2-meter radio here on the side, the static burst came out of it.
Oh, wow. Well, there's one popping up over at Burnt Store Marina right now, believe it or not. And then some light rain moving into Fort Myers. But no big cells right now.
Moving west.
You know, it was moving east an hour ago. It's kind of stalled, but it does seem to want to build to the west. It does look like it is trying to build back to the west now. As you guys know, what causes these storms every day is lift in the atmosphere. And what happens is you get a sea breeze from the East Coast and you get a sea breeze from the West Coast. And wherever they meet, they lift. And wherever that lift happens, that's where you get your big thunderstorms.
Yeah.
What'll happen a lot of times is you'll get a stalemate. You'll get the East and the West will rise. You'll get the big bunch of storms and they'll sit over the same spot. And this usually happens inland, like around LaBelle or Clewiston. And then what'll happen is as the sea breeze dies down at night, the Atlantic breeze will take over. And when the Atlantic breeze takes over, it will sometimes nudge these storms towards the West Coast after dark. And I think that's what we're seeing tonight. We had a stalemate. The storms were actually making progress to the East Coast for a little while. And then all of a sudden they stopped. Now we're starting to see a general progression back to the West. And that's probably because, like I said, the West Coast sea breeze died. We've got an East Coast Atlantic breeze coming in, and that's causing that drift to the west. God, I wish I could have been a meteorologist. I suck at math.
Yeah.
All right.
I wanted to be an EE, but I suck at math.
Yeah. I literally would be an on-air a TV meteorologist. Maybe not TV. I'm too ugly for that. But maybe a radio meteorologist anyway. I got a face for radio. But I would be a meteorologist today. I love meteorology. It's one of my favorite things in the whole world.
You can work at the Storm Prediction Center in Norman, Oklahoma.
There you go. You know what? I would love to have worked at the National Hurricane Center, but that's like where that's the cream of the crop there. That's like the FBI to the Sheriff's Department. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, but I would have loved to. I would have loved to have just been a TV meteorologist. I've always just been absolutely enamored by not only weather, but the coverage of weather. I don't know what it is about idiots standing out in the wind, but I have this thing about weather coverage. I love it, and it's not mostly not idiots.
Inventory.
Yeah, Jim Cantori. I love when he comes to towns and they now get footage of people's reaction when he walks through their airport.
People run.
I know people are like, oh, they'll be like, because they realize Jim Cantori just got off a plane in their town.
And you know
And-
they're in deep trouble.
Yeah, and Mike Seidel, he's the other one. He's usually pretty close. Mike Seidel. But yeah, I love the
Dave
Weather
Letterman
Channel.
got his start in TV weather as a TV weatherman.
Who did?
Dave Letterman.
Oh wow,
Yep.
should have stayed there. He was probably good at it. Just kidding. He's funny. He just don't have my politics. Anyway, all right, I'm going to go ahead and shut down the YouTube meeting. Does anybody have anything else to discuss tech-wise before I shut down the YouTube meeting?
Just a whole bunch of crud out in the weather.
Yep, there you go. All right, everybody on YouTube, everybody else stay put. But everybody on YouTube, we're going to go ahead and end the stream for the night. Thank you for being here. It's 10:11 p.m. Eastern time, and it's been a great net tonight. I really appreciate all the participation. So good night, everybody.